Many thanks for joining us. This is the news on Galaxy Television, broadcasting to viewers here in Nigeria, West Africa, and across the globe. My name is Tife Tanimomo. Our top stories. The federal government lifts ban on flights coming into the country from India. Plus, on the news, the National Judicial Council, NJC, recommends the appointment of 6 chief judges and 31 others as judicial officers to beef up judicial functions in some states and the FCT. And when we take you outside Nigeria, Israeli forces detained dozens of Palestinians in response to an embarrassing high-security prison escape earlier this month. Those are top stories. We'll bring you details in just a moment. A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for joining us on the news once again. We begin with stories from the presidency as the federal government has lifted the ban placed on flights coming into the country from India. The government had banned passengers who visited India, Brazil, South Africa and Turkey in the last 14 days from entering the country as part of precautionary measures to contain the virus in the country. But in the new travel protocol released on Sunday, the chairman, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Bas Mustafa, indicated that the ban placed on passengers from India has been lifted. The review protocol took effect from September 14, 2021. However, the sanctions placed on airlines that convey passengers from restricted countries and travelers who are non-Nigerians remain, as Mustafa said. Non-Nigerian passport holders and non-residents who visited Brazil, Turkey or South Africa within 14 days preceding travel to Nigeria shall be denied entry into the country. This regulation, however, does not apply to passengers who transited through these countries. And now to the judiciary, the National Judicial Council, NJC, has recommended the appointment of 6 chief judges and 31 others as judicial officers to beef up judicial functions in some states and federal capital territory. At its 95th meeting held on September 15 and 16, 2021, the Council considered a list of candidates presented by the interview committee and recommended these 37 successful candidates to their respective state governors for appointment. 3 judges each are recommended for the High Court of Gombe, Katsina and Kogi states respectively, 2 from Akwa Ibom, 1 each from Bauchi and Kaduna states respectively. A statement issued on Sunday by the NJC Director of Information, Sauji Oye, says that all the recommended candidates are expected to be sworn in after approval by the President, Muhammadu Buhari, and their respective state governors and confirmation by the respective state houses of assembly. And now to the southwest, 2 northern governors on Friday stormed Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, to celebrate the 80th birthday of Chief Alani Bankole, father of former Speaker of House of Representatives, Dimeji Bankole. Speaking at the event held at the Oluwo residence of Chief Bankole, Governor Abiodun congratulated the elder statesman on his new age, describing him as a phenomenon whose sunshine beams brightly across the political spectrum of Nigeria and its traditional institutions.
Baba's political journey started probably in the early 60s, and that has allowed him to have offsprings like me, but dotted across the length and breadth of this country. And that's why today we see Governor of Jigawa, Governor of Kebbi, Governor of Zamfara, amongst the many personalities that have come from far and wide to honor Baba on a Friday.
And now, away from Dallas, track security stories as gunmen have reportedly killed 3 policemen and set their patrol vehicle ablaze along Okaibu-Ezeweka Road in Onitsha, Anambra State. The gunmen were said to have opened fire and killed the 3 policemen who mounted a checkpoint along the road, while 2 others escaped with gunshot wounds. Some community residents continuously lament over what they described as extortion on the part of the policemen at the security post, which some say may have prompted the attack. The new police commissioner, Tony Olufu, had warned that he would not hesitate to sack any policeman collecting bribe from motorists and citizens. No group has claimed responsibility as at the time of filing this report. Still on national security, 10 more students abducted by bandits from the Bethel Baptist Secondary School in Kaduna State have been released. The students regained their freedom on Saturday after spending about 75 days in the custody of the abductors. They were kidnapped on July 5th when a group of armed men invaded the school in Chikun local government area of the state. Police authorities in Kaduna have yet to make any comment on the release of the students, but a senior officer of the school told journalists that students were released after an undisclosed amount of money was paid to the bandits. He explains that following their release, the students were reunited with their parents and taken to the hospital for checkup. And now in the southwest once again, an Akure-based clergy, Sunday Ojo-Olakpe, has expressed sadness over the persistent downfall of Naira in the international market. Speaking in Akure, the clergy said it is highly shameful that the Naira is no longer vibrant in the international market, and the effect on the economy on a daily basis is eating up Nigerians. Ojo-Olakpe called on Buhari-led government to urgently find solutions to the skyrocketing prices of goods and services in the markets on a daily basis.
On the economy of our country, things were going down every day. I remember years back when I traveled to USA, that's the United States of America. Rate of dollar by then is about 5 naira to $1. But how can we, what can we say? When we are now saying that $1 is now 540 naira to $1, it's highly shameful.
You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. We bring you more stories, particularly on open grazing law, as students of Ondo State and different tertiary institutions in Nigeria throw their weight behind the enforcement of the anti-open grazing law. We'll bring you details of that story and more in just a moment. Stay with us, please. Many thanks for staying with us. This is the news on Galaxy Television. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our Eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comments. And in Ondo State, students in that state in different tertiary institutions in Nigeria have thrown their weight behind the enacting of anti-open grazing law. The students under the aegis of National Association of Ondo State Students made their position known at a news conference addressed by the Transition Committee. The students' body is optimistic that the law will put an end to incessant clashes between herders and farmers. The head of the Transition Committee of the association, Mayowa Akinleye, said open grazing is no longer fashionable in modern-day cattle business. He, however, sounded a note of warning that the solutions proffered by government must be holistically implemented soon.
Answer us, because this is not the place for that question in the first instance. But to say what is my summary contribution is, for problems, there are solutions. And for those solutions also to we create new problems. So it means there is no perfect solution. So it then means that what the anti-open grazing law bill means is simply meaning that it is creating a new stance to solve an existing problem.
The state government on the anti-grazing law is something that we are in support 100%, and we believe is something that, if properly managed and negotiated at the national level, this is something that can solve the issue of open grazing that have been causing a series of rancor in most especially the southern states.
Still in the southwest, 6 new permanent secretaries and a special advisor have been sworn in by the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, to provide the much-needed leadership, effective and efficient service delivery in governors of the state. At a ceremony held at the governor's office in the state capital, the governor charged them to use their wealth of experience to bring the needed leverage on the developmental agenda of the state government. While charging them on transparency and accountability, the governor however seized the occasion to inform the state workforce about the readiness of government towards implementation of the 2018 through 2020 promotion exercise and the settlement of outstanding financial obligations to the state workforce as soon as the financial status of the state improves.
A journey in the footsteps of illustrious men and women of this great state, you must realize that you are receiving from the people the sacred trust was once conferred to your illustrious predecessors. Hence, you cannot afford to fail in your journey. Borrowing the words of the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Winston Churchill, 1874 to 1965, the price of greatness is responsibility and accountability. At this point, let me once again reiterate the unequivocally our administration's commitment to the development of all sectors of our economy of our dear state.
We stay in that state as residents of Orileoko in Remo North local government area of Ogun State have appealed to Governor Dapo Abiodun to come to their aid by putting an end to the 17-year blackout in the community. In this report, the correspondent John Felix takes a look at the plight of residents in the community once described as the food basket of the state. Now the report.
Orileoko, an ancient town in the present-day Remo North of Ogun State, consists of over 33 villages. A rural settlement with a population who are mostly into crop and livestock farming. Living in perpetual darkness is not new in Orileoko, as children within a certain age range in these communities do not know what it means to have power supply. For a community dominated by farmers, one would understand why businesses in Orileoko is not operated on a large scale. Yet, The few small-scale businesses are stifled by unnecessary expenses, mostly on fuel, to run their small generators, for those who could afford it. This is the transformer that energizes 12 communities here in Oriloko community of Remo North local government area of Ogun State. It was commissioned on the 9th day of April 2003 by the Olusegun Oshoba-led administration. The residents lament that their community last enjoyed electricity supply over 17 years ago, during the tenure of a former governor of the state, Chief Olusegun Oshoba.
They are managing. We are using only our generator. Yes. That's some teachers have gone, they want to live here because no lights, no road.
Generator la ń lò. A fẹ́ tura látọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba torí tí ìjọba bá fún wa níná ara tù wá náà ni. Títì ló ń jẹ́ wá líyà jù. Torí bẹ́ẹ̀ bá múra bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dúró báyìí kẹ́tò rí ọ̀kadà.
For the fuel, almost, let's say, 30 to 40,000 naira.
Monthly?
Yes. We just go, maybe we'll just look us do something where in redeem where this our community we go enjoy.
Speaking to Galaxy TV News, the Lisa of Oriloko, High Chief Olakunle Olalekan, says life has become unbearable for the residents as a result of the blackout.
Oriloko is a community. We are all farmers. We are farmers. Oriloko is being marginalized. We are suffering in Oriloko. We thank God, we thank His Excellency, the former governor of Ogun State, the former governor of Ogun State, Remo Olusegun Oshoba, for having mercy for Oriloko. He is the one that electrified Oriloko in year 2000, 2003, and since 2004, we have been in darkness in Oriloko. No light. We are appealing to the executive governor of Ogun State right away, His Excellency, President Akpo Abiodun, to please, for God's sake, to come to our aid by assisting Oriloko and let us have the land back. We have been in darkness for the past 18 years ago, or let me say 16 years. We are in darkness. We internally we wanted to celebrate 16 years in darkness. We wanted to celebrate it, but we thought if you celebrate 17 years in darkness, maybe they will come to our aid.
The Lisa Oriloko speaks on the economic impact the continuous blackout has had on the community. Schools are not spared, core members inclusive. While pledging his support to the state governor, Akpo Abiodun, he calls for an urgent intervention in Oriloko.
Teachers are posted here, but when they come here, they say no light too. They will just try to go back. We have 6 primary schools. Economically, financially, everything we are affected. Because when the light was on in Oriloko, we see the weather, the iron bed, the electronics, they come down from all over in Nigeria here. They come and build houses here, they come and rent shops here, begin work here. But immediately the light was off, they begin to pack their things. So as it is now, we only farm here. Even if you farm, you want to prepare, let me say, you want to reserve a little something. When there's no light, you can't reserve anything. So it's not ideal.
The special advisor to Ogun State Governor on Public Communications, Remi Azan, acknowledged Oriloko community has not been fairly treated over the years by past administration. He says the government will continue to prioritize infrastructural development in Oriloko.
So Oriloko is part of our focus in the infrastructural development plan of the state. The road in that community has already been awarded. Every other thing that has to do with this no electricity supply that you're talking about, and some of their schools too that haven't gotten our attention so far, will also begin to get the attention, because whatever you want to do, you just must have access. If there is no access, every other thing will only be on your wish list, and until you do what is needful, you can't begin to act out what you have in mind.
With the desired infrastructure in place, Oriloko may just return to take its place as the food basket of the state. From Oriloko in Ogun State, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
We'll stay with Ogun State as the State House of Assembly has directed the former Managing Director, State Property and Investment Corporation, OPIC, Babajide Odusulu, to pay back 40 million naira unaccounted for in year 2019 into the state's purse within 6 months. This was part of the resolution passed by the Assembly during plenary presided over by Speaker Olakunle Oluomo in Abeokuta after adopting the report of the House Committee on Public Account and Anti-Corruption led by Musfield Lamidi. Lamidi, while representing the report of his committee, noted the committee had considered the 2015 to 2019 State Auditor General's report of the corporation. The committee also called on the Financial Crimes Investigation Agencies to investigate and recover into the state's coffers an unaccounted balance of 2.5 billion naira, which happened during Odusulu's tenure as the head of the corporation. Considering the year 2019 bank balance sheets submitted to the committee, the sum of 726 million naira contained in the bank balance sheet and represented an unaccounted balance of 2.5 billion naira. The Assembly equally recommended the reversal of all transactions, including 8.2 hectares of land at Ishari sold in favor of Renhill International Services Limited, a subsidiary of Pensioners Group, in the twilight of the last administration at the undervalued price of 164 million naira. The need for government at all levels to invest in a well-established technical and vocational education and training institutions across the country has been stressed if Nigeria is positioned for meaningful economic development. This call, amongst others, was made known as the Director of Ogun State Institute of Technology, Igbesa, while delivering the Omoluabi Memorial Lecture of the Egbado College Old Student Association 91 set in Ilaro, Ogun State. Correspondent John Felix now reports.
Technical and vocational education and training is designed to embrace the use of tools and technology in skills acquisition to help learners in meeting the need of the immediate and future labor need. Speaking on the role of technical and vocational training in national development, Engineer Dr. Olufunke Akinkurolere says the inability of stakeholders in the educational sector to harmonize the dichotomy between technical skilled education remains a gap that must be bridged for TVET to drive economic development.
We are faced with inadequate ICT facilities, and there is too much emphasis on university certification. You know, every parent now wants to send their children to, you must be a graduate. You must, and so that now that is leading, a lot of time when they graduate, there is no job for them. But when you allow our children to undergo maybe technical vocational training, after graduation they can be employers of labor. Gone are the days that when you are a university graduate, there is an automatic job waiting for you somewhere. It's no longer the same. And that's why we tend to encourage our parents to encourage our children to learn one trade.
While noting that Nigeria's technical and vocational training-based education is still far from reaching its original goals, she says African countries must learn from the Asians how they have been able to successfully sustain the link between the educational sector and labor needs. She adds that acquisition of skills through technical and vocational training provides the unique opportunity for unemployed youth to be self-reliant.
Nigeria as a country cannot develop without well-established technical and vocational education and training institutions. And it is a missing link in Nigeria development policy. Government must therefore invest in TVET, but I think the government needs to do more than what they are doing now. They need to invest more in technical education for the benefit of our economy. Now, no nation can compete effectively in the present global market with unskilled workers. What we have around in our nation, Nigeria, we have a lot of unskilled workers. And it's not compulsory that you have to go to university before you are skilled. We can do that through technical and vocational training.
With the desired funding, TVET may just be the catalyst to the revitalization of the nation's economic development. From Ilaro in Ogun State, Jan Felix reporting for Galactic Television News.
Now let's cross over to the southeastern part of Nigeria as part of measures to curb insecurity ravaging the zone, especially the novel trend of attack on secondary schools by hoodlums in the state. The Imo State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has successfully trained 45 female personnel into its Rapid Response Squad. The State Commandant, Michael Oga, said the 3 months intensive training was in line with a directive issued by the NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Abubakar Audu, who assumed office in March 2021. The State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodimma, represented by his Deputy Governor, Professor Placid Njoku, congratulates the officers on successful training.
We want them to be the best in Nigeria. As you can see, they are going to be the best. Wherever you find them, they are going to be very civil and they are very energetic. And we are very sure Imo State is always the first, because this is the hard land of this part of Nigeria. The role is to provide security, especially in schools.
Primary, secondary, universities?
Yes, wherever there's need, we are going to deploy them.
Doing this, it is using a very potent group of Nigerians, the females. You know, the females are very determined people. When they decide to do something, they do it, and oftentimes better than the men.
And now to party politics. As Congresses of the All Progressive Congress continues, the local government appeal committee of the party has sued for peace among members of the party in the state. The committee whose sitting will commence in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, on Monday, has Barrister Chijioke Ozomena and Barrister Bumi Hilda as its chairman and secretary respectively. Equally has 3 others as its members. The committee chairman, however, urged aggrieved members of the party to come up with their complaints and petitions, which should be addressed to the secretary of the panel with relevant evidences to prove the basis of their grievances. Barrister Zomena promised that the committee would remain impartial in the course of its assignments, adding that the committee required the support and cooperation of party faithfuls. Let's shift our focus to health-related matters, as government at all levels in Nigeria has been advised to give undivided attention to the healthcare need of women and children across the country. The wife of the Oyo State Deputy Governor, Professor Amdulat Olaniyan, who gave the admonition while addressing leaders and members of Medical Women Association of Nigeria in Ibadan, noticed that the spate of insecurity in the country has brought untold hardship to women and children. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that Professor Olaniyan emphasized the need for political leaders in the country to desist from playing politics with the well-being of Nigerians, adding that efforts should be geared towards making the society better for all and sundry. In her part, the National President, Medical Women Association of Nigeria, Dr. Kemi Otoloni, declared that the body remains committed to rendering qualitative healthcare service to Nigerians, whilst it solicited the support of government and other stakeholders in the state.
Even domestic violence among women, I personally appreciate your efforts towards improving health living in this country by contributing your professional contact and resources for the betterment of others. We are all well aware of the situation within the country, from insecurity, unfavorable working conditions, and very poor remuneration, among others.
2 years have been quite challenging for the entire world because of the havoc of COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, insecurity and economic downturn in the land has had additional impact on the citizens of our great country, Nigeria. I presented a 7-point agenda which included the following: improved well-being of both the boy and the girl child and women in our society.
You're still on to Galaxy Television News. It's now time for us to do a recap as we bring you stories that made headlines last week. Stay with us, please.
And tracking stories that made headlines last week. On Monday, the Court of Appeal held a ceremony to flag off its maiden legal year and justices' retreat with a call on the justice system to work in the defense of Nigeria's democracy. This is the gathering of senior lawyers and judges of members of the Temple Justice from the different courts as well as dignitaries that have graced the event. Beginning from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, the need for sanity in Nigeria's justice system was echoed. The body of senior advocates and those of the Nigerian Bar Association lamented the disturbing spate of insecurity with the attendant's growing need to deliver justice to Nigerians. In a candid and lengthy speech, President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dogba-Mensem, reaffirmed the challenge of poor welfare of judicial workers, stating that the situation of even judges is not any better. Justice Mensem further harped on the need for judicial independence to ensure impartial adjudication of cases in the country. President of the Court of Appeal inspected a guard of honor by the police as part of activities marking the opening ceremony of the new legal year of the Court of Appeal. Also on Monday, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, confirmed the attack on the Kaba Medium Security Custodial Center in Kogi State. He said while the center had 294 inmates as of the time of the attack, only 28 inmates did not escape. He however said the government was putting Interpol on notice with the details of fleeing inmates in case any of them attempts to flee the country. The minister's media advisor, Shola Fashure, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. According to the statement, the gunmen used explosives to destroy 3 sides of the center's perimeter fence. 1 soldier and a policeman were said to have been killed during the attack, while the whereabouts of 2 other officers remain unknown. Still on Monday, at least 12 persons, including a reverend, were killed by bandits in Iyejim, a village in Atiap Chiefdom of Zango Kataf local government area of Kaduna State. A member of the vigilante group who pleaded anonymity said the armed men invaded the community in the late hours of Sunday. He added that they came in large numbers and were shooting sporadically. The attacks led to the death of 12 persons, with many others sustaining injuries. The injured have since been taken to hospital where they are receiving treatment in the Zonkwa Rural Hospital. Similarly, residents of Ngwang, Sauri and Maje villages in Shikun local government area of Kaduna State who came under attack last week, where bandits kidnapped 23 persons, were seen running for safety to other communities for fear of impending attacks. Away from Monday, on Tuesday, President Muhammadu Buhari requested the National Assembly to approve for it over $4 billion and 710 million euros. Buhari also sought the nation's legislature's approval for grant component of $125 million in the 2018 and 2020 external rolling borrowing plan. This was contained in a letter addressed to both chambers of the National Assembly and read on the floor at the resumption of plenary by the presiding officers on Tuesday. In the same vein, on Tuesday, the House of Representatives Committee on Defense received a delegation from the Defense Academy, which briefed it of the security breach that took place at the Nigerian Defense Academy, Afaka, on the 24th of August 2021. Commandant General of the Defense Academy, Major General Ibrahim Yusuf, had earlier told the House that concerted efforts are ongoing to ensure the release of the abducted soldier. The suspected bandits had on that fateful day attacked the NDA in Kaduna, killing 2 officers. Addressing the lawmakers, the commandant said he had classified document and would prefer to display it in the absence of the media. He also said the reason for the series of visits to the academy was due to the regard Nigerians have for the institution. On Wednesday, the Nigeria Customs Service accused ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, of government as well as Nigeria elite of aiding and abating smuggling through patronizing smuggled vehicles. Assistant Comptroller General ACG of Customs in charge of modernization, Seidu Galadima, said this at a meeting with the House of Representatives Committee on Customs in Abuja. The service pointed accusing fingers on MDAs for encouraging smuggling in the country. He also said the reason for the series of visits to the academy was due to the regard Nigerians have for the institution. On Thursday, the Nigeria Customs Service accused ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, of government as well as Nigeria elite of aiding and abating smuggling through patronizing smuggled vehicles. Assistant Comptroller General ACG of Customs in charge of modernization, Seidu Galadima, said this at a meeting with the House of Representatives Committee on Customs in Abuja. The service pointed accusing fingers on MDAs for saying by patronizing dealers of smuggled vehicles, especially Hilux Jeeps, to get their operational official vehicles, the MDAs are encouraging smuggling, thereby aiding leakages in the system which affect customs revenue generation. However, after much deliberation, stakeholders agreed that the cumbersome clearing process be trickled down from 18 levels to just 3. This was after the customs confirmed only 6 levels to the committee. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Leke Abejide, appealed to the chairman of the committee, Leke Abejide, appealed to the customs officials to offer a 3-month window for defaulters to pay duties on vehicles smuggled into the country. He said this move could generate about 1 trillion naira for the federal government, which will be needed at the crucial times of economic downturn. Meanwhile, the Federal Executive Council meeting on Wednesday approved the sum of 38.4 billion naira for the completion of some road projects in 5 states across the country. The road projects, which were inherited from previous administrations, are for Anambra, Bayelsa, Benue, Imo, and Nasarawa State. Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who addressed State House correspondent at the end of the cabinet meeting, said there are not new projects but inherited ones being completed by the Buhari administration. So the contracts for the 13.5-kilometer road for the Onitsha-Owerri Road through Okija Ihembusi in Anambra State, which was awarded in 2011 but wasn't funded, got a review of 488.9 million naira and additional completion period of 6 months. The minister said council also approved a contract for the completion of a 20-kilometer road in Bayelsa State. Fashola said the third contract was for the completion of a road linking Nasarawa and Benue States, central Nigeria. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu on his part said council approved the sum of 10.7 million naira as augmentation for the completion of Middle River Valley Irrigation Project in Sokoto State. Still on Wednesday, Senate President Ahmed Lawan swore in Agom Jarigbe as senator representing Cross River North Senatorial District. Senator Jarigbe, who is of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, took the oath of office on Wednesday at the start of plenary. The oath of office was administered by the clerk of the Senate, Barrister Ibrahim Dauda El Ladan. His swearing-in comes at the heel of a ruling by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja, affirming him as winner of the December 5, 2020 Cross River North Senatorial by-elections, replacing Stephen O'Day, also of the PDP. Speaking to the media, Senator Jarigbe pleaded to deliver quality representation for his constituents. Away from Wednesday, on Thursday, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, debunked reports that he likened IPOB and Yoruba Nation agitators with Boko Haram terrorists and ISWAP. The Speaker, upon resumption at Thursday's plenary, cleared the air, insisting that he was absolutely misquoted. Gbajabiamila said there are criminal elements different from the genuine agitators who have chosen to cause mayhem leading to death and destruction, and those were the people he referred to in his speech early on Tuesday. He termed those intentionally quoting him out of context as carrying out uninspiring and junk journalism. The Speaker, however, urged journalists to ensure quality reportage by reporting what is true in the discharge of their duties. Still tracking stories that made headlines last week, on Friday, Justice Ladiro Akintola of the Oyo State High Court granted all relief sought by the Yoruba activist Sunday Ademo, also known as Igboho. Ademo had placed before the court 16 reliefs which bothered on the infringement of his fundamental human rights by officers of the State Security Service, while he equally asked for 500 billion naira cost. Delivering his judgment on the matter, the presiding judge to others. He also condemned the embargo placed on his account, adding that the damage suffered by the applicants could be linked to the excessive use of state power against harmless Nigerians. He therefore awarded a sum of 20 billion naira against the federal government and in favor of Igboho. Also, additional 2 million naira cost was awarded as against 10 million naira applied for by the council to the applicant. When approached, counsel to the Attorney General and Minister